I couldn't remember where in the heck it is that I even contacted that person at, or the first initial contact was. Hey guys, it's Erica with Groupin' Spoopin' Scoopin', and welcome back to my channel. Today we are actually going to talk about contact information. So if that sounds interesting to you, stay tuned. All right, so when you make contact with somebody, they call you on the phone, they email you, whatever it is, you land your deal, right? They're scheduling a scoop with you. What's the kind of information that you need to get from them? When I first started, you guys, it was terrible. I would have some people's first and last name. I would have some people's first name. I wouldn't always have a phone number. I would always get an address, but I wouldn't have like an email address, and I wouldn't write where I contacted or where they contacted me from. And then when it came to it, to the day of, when it was time to do their scoop, I couldn't remember where in the heck it is that I even contacted that person at, or the first initial contact was. So this is some stuff that I've learned along the way that's kind of helped me keep all my stuff in order. So when I land that deal, what I do is I always get first and last name. Why first and last name? Well, because right now you might only have 5 or 6 customers, and you know that you have Jennifer, John, Sally, Tom, is that 4, and then Brandon. Okay, you know you're 5, but then you start to grow and you add an extra Brandon, and they both have the similar last name with M initial. One's the last name is, let's say, I don't know, Magnolia, and the other one's what's an M last name? I don't know, M something. And you just have an initial, and you're like, I only have their last initial. Oh no. Which Matt is it? And then you're trying to go through your brain. And I don't know about you guys, but I can't. I can't keep it in order. So I have to have the first and the last name. First thing, right off rip. I get their phone number with their area code. I also get their home address with their actual city. I write all of it. I don't just write down their numbers and their street name. I write down their numbers, their street name, their city, and the zip code. Because I've run into issues where, say for instance, a court versus street, right? Or a court versus avenue. So there are different, it's different. So if you're supposed to go to, Matthew's house that lives on 22, blah, 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 whatever court, but you accidentally go to street, you're going to the wrong house. And then you're going to end up in somebody's backyard that wasn't expecting you to be there, and that's a whole nother issue. I'll do a video on that because I actually had a gun pulled out on me one time. That was really scary. Sorry. I don't got the Rona. But I do got the sniffles because it was cold yesterday while I was out working. So yeah, so make sure you have the full address, you have the full phone number, and then you're also going to want to get their email address. You might not email them right now, but when you eventually switch over to bulk emailing, because when you get a lot of customers, it's going to be hard to individually email somebody. You're going to want to have their email address on file so you can start building that email list. Very, very important. I actually just discovered how important that was last week when I had to send out over 100 text messages to my customers, updating them about what's going on with scoops right now, because things are a little wild. Things are a little wild in 2020. So you want to have that, and then you also want to have, if you can, get a description of their house. That's a little extra bonus. I like to have a description of their house, just something that lets me know that I'm going to the right backyard, the right house, just in case they're not going to be home to meet me. And then, what's so important is make yourself a note of where you originally talked to them at. If you talk to them in your phone and you have the text messages, that's cool. You can just type up their name. But if you if they contacted you on like Facebook, regular Facebook Messenger, Yelp, a neighborhood app, YouTube, Instagram, you're like, oh my gosh, where did I talk to this person at? Where was our original conversation at? Because sometimes you have to reference back to those messages because you're like, oh, I don't remember this, or I need to refresh myself. So when you go to their house and you go to talk to them, you have all that information. So that's very important. And then you also want to write down the number of dogs, the number of dogs that they have, and then the price that you're going to charge them for that first clean or whatever it is. That's all the information that I write down first and foremost. So their first and last name, their full address, their full email address, point of contact, where their first original message is, and how many dogs they have, and how much I'm going to charge them. Once I have all that information down, after I do the first clean, usually it's a bulk clean, then they decide that they want to sign up. What I do is I have like a master sheet where it has all of that information on there, and I keep that at home with me for my files. And so why the email address comes into play, why it's so important, because I use Square Billing. It's a Square processor for my billing, and you have to have an email address on file for them to get an invoice set up, because the invoice actually gets sent to their email. So that's why it's really important to have an up-to-date and accurate email address. Whew, that was a lot. I'm like winded. If you guys are still here with me and you're still tracking with me, give me a thumbs up. And I really, really appreciate it. So those are like my basic little tips of the information that's really important to have on your customer. If you yourself have other tips or tricks or suggestions, things that make keeping all the customers aligned much easier for you, drop that in the comment, because this is a two-way street and I want to learn from you just as much as you are learning from me. So if you found this video valuable, give me a thumbs up. If you didn't, there's a button for that as well, but don't do that. Give me a thumbs up, and I really appreciate it. And I hope that you guys subscribe to the channel. All right, take care. Bye.